So Meteoric is my name. I am with Uncanny Alley. So the difference here is we created a couple of years ago. I was in Venice in competition with my project Uncanny Alley, and this year we decided to try something new where I built an entire new world, and all the avatars you see are sculpt in VR. So what I'm wearing, you'll see in the promo world a bunch. But for the actual show world, it's got live theatrical performers. So I've collaborated with the Ferryman Collective, and they basically VR theatrical group. So how the actual show works is you go in as audience members and you have two actors that play about 6 to 7 characters each. So it's an hour long like live theatrical performance set in the world of Uncanny Alley. So I had to quickly build a little promo world that basically has just the trailer in there. It has some of the characters because you can't actually just jump in the main world without the actors, or you'll just end up in prison and you'll be stuck there forever. So starting on that, we'll take you there. But I definitely think it would be great to organize a show, meet the Ferryman Collective, and they could probably do a show for you, and that's the actual piece in the world. So what we're going to see in here is more just we'll run around, I'll explain a couple of the characters and a little bit of the lore and show you the trailer. But just bear in mind that it's obviously the promo world for the actual thing that was on show that can't be showed without the actors. So yeah. To kind of kick things off, my worlds are kind of known for their scale as well. Like this pro world is probably a 20th of the size of the actual show world. But I've just taken a small little city block here, especially for people that know nothing about the show. They can come here and actually just learn a little bit about what's kind of cracking here. Basically, it is called Uncanny Alley: A New Day. As I mentioned, it's the live theatrical performance, and kind of the thing I'm mostly known for is everything you see here is built and modeled from scratch. So from everything, from the buildings to the characters to the animations. I don't do kit bashing, so I don't go and find assets and download them and build worlds together. I do everything from scratch and predominantly in VR. So all the characters you see here are actually sculpted in a combination of Adobe Medium, still the first one, the free one, and using Quill. And then I use Substance Painter to texture everything, and then a bit of Blender to do some rigging. And so these are all the characters on the show. So I won't talk through all of them, but just to give you a bit of an idea what happens in this world is you basically start all the audience members spawn in as these prisoners, and a little bit of lore from the previous Uncanny Alley. It's all kind of about big meta and meta owning all our data. So in the previous world, if you beamed in on a quest, you would automatically go to prison and you couldn't actually get out of prison. It was kind of a statement on, you've been detected in a meta headset, so you kind of left locked in the prison forever. And so this is why we also started out this new one in the prison. But one of the big challenges for me, and one of, I'd say, the larger reasons to take on a project at the scale, was to create a world that was both PC and Quest 100% the same. The only differences, excuse the little NPC, the only little differences are, so some of the shaders are a little bit lighter than the others, but essentially now, because you have this thing in VRChat, I'm sure you've seen it, where you feel like a left behind kid at the playground. So if everyone's on PC and you're on a quest, everyone jumps through these portals and you can't jump through and you kind of feel left behind. Or if it's Quest compatible, quite often you'll be like, wow, look at that thing. And, half the people can't see what you're pointing at. So the live version, as well as this promo world, is 100% Quest and PC, which was an incredible challenge. I think our end build was like 99.9 megabytes, which is the 100 megabyte cap. So yeah, the little characters you see around, the NPCs, these are your little megabytes. Yeah, he's a little guy that just runs around, and they kind of there just for entertainment, but also they're there to show you the way of places. So if you just follow the megabytes, they actually kind of take you around the world a little bit. And bear in mind again, we just seeing, so that is one of the actors just mumbling around, the voice. But in the live show itself, we have a combination of actors with NPCs, and all the nameplates are turned off. So quite often you're actually not sure what's an NPC or what's an actor, but the actors will change their voices and have it like, don one of these avatars, and that will be kind of the show. And then as you progress through the world, the next actor will take on the next character, and so on and so forth. Um, Oh, and just to explain about the why we arrived in a toilet, again, it's kind of the law of Uncanny Alley. Like Big Meta not only owns our data, but they own the infrastructure of data. So the last thing that connects humans together in this kind of dystopian metaverse are the toilet systems. So unfortunately, that's how we have to get around these worlds. Um, Follow me here. So these are kind of these are like the main good characters in the show. You basically, the last iteration of Uncanny Alley, you were always looking for this character Ghost. And there were posters all around, like, how do you find Ghost? Ghost is kind of the missing key, but you can never actually find her. She's, that story was all about the concept of the open metaverse back then. There was a lot of positive thoughts towards this idea that there was this open metaverse idea. People were going to get together, be decentralized. So Ghost actually managed to escape vrchat, and I built a bunch of Uncanny Alleys in different platforms on the web, and some in WebXR, some in just kind of crypto platforms. So kind of the story was at the end, she's managed to break this fourth wall, escaped this closed metaverse, and has found, well, she's finding these new lands. Now, in this new story, she's kind of come back, realized that it's not all it's cut out to be, and now she wants to come and bust you out of this metaverse to create a new one that, that we create ourselves. So that's kind of the main character. She busts you out of prison. And this is Atom, who's like our service bot. Service bots are like these general human bidding characters. And Atom is one that Ghost's been kind of working on to bring sentience. And a lot through the show, Atom's like our heart, and kind of opens us up to the questions of what are human feelings, what are these emotions you feel, and even though we're in the metaverse, it's just as real as kind of real life. So yeah, a couple of the characters, again, all sculpted in VR. Then we have Sloan. He's kind of our little hacker Ghost sidekick. He loves kind of building, tinkering, making machines, and you'll see he plays quite a big part in the show. At one point when you bust out, he's trying to do a live stream, and he's trying to film all of you. So there's a lot of kind of humor, dark humor, and a lot of, we're trying to make a bit of a dark comedy in a sense. So when you see the show version, you'll see a lot of that kind of funny little moments. So these are kind of our main characters. Here's the poster of the world. So this is actually a photo from one of the scenes in the park. So there you can see all the audience members are now in prisoner outfits, and Atom's busy taking them through this park scene where he recites this beautiful poem in front of everyone. And, you have a lot of these moments in the show where the world kind of changes a bit, these moments of peace. But generally, you're kind of running away from the evil guys who we'll get to. This is Ava. She's Ghost's mom. She basically builds avatars. So at some point in the show, the cops are looking for these prisoners. So you get to go to Ava's kind of secret lab and choose all the avatars. So there's like an example, the bear up there. So each audience member gets to choose whatever new avatar they want to wear, and then for the rest of the show, now you're no longer dressed in prisoner outfits. these are the server spots. So just kind of general run around, So Atom is one of these guys that have been brought a bit to life, given a heart in a sense. These are Evil Corporation. So they work for ALR, which is Adaptive Learning Industries, and these are kind of the evil people of the show. They, in the beginning, the cops keep you in prison, and they also help onboard. Mangle was mentioning how when you first arrive in VRChat, as a way to hide nameplates, as a way to make sure you're seeing the avatars, the cops kind of get you in this cell and teach you how to use it. And then Commissioner Tool, he's like the main kind of baddie in this current iteration of the show, and his goons. And then, for me, VRChat is, and a lot of these metaverse platforms, the world builders are kind of a very big core of the technology. The metaverse cannot exist without the world builders and the avatar creators and the programmers. So this world, it's Uncanny Alley is my lore, my IP that I've been developing for a good few years. But in this show, I collaborated with Screaming Color, who's also part of the Ferryman Collective. You'll know his work. He's a legend in VRChat from Gumball Dreams. So he worked a lot on the original music, a lot of the particle effects and the animation. And then I did, a lot of like you said, like I mentioned, the sculpting and a lot of little things. My dog, he's always in all the Uncanny Alleys, so if you go to the other versions, you'll always see him somewhere in the room. That's an actual scan of the dog, and had to have screens with a Unity crash screen because that's just part of Unity dev. And then we have other little things like, during the show, there's a lot of video clips that help explain what's going on, like TV shows. So this is the Uncanny Anchor. I'll show you a little clip upstairs. We also had to do a little behind the scenes kind of show, but the whole headshot filming your real head wasn't really vibing. So what we did, what I'm very curious about these spaces is how you create new types of content. So what we did just, a couple of days before, got the actors in to pretend they're interviewing everyone in the alley, and that was a way to kind of explain the show without breaking the law of the world. So the anchor would basically tell you the questions, but tell you the answers in a form of a question, and all the citizens of Uncanny are like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, what show? And so I'll show you that a bit up the top.
Are you talking about creating new types of content? Like this world itself, like a promo world for like this is like a new type of trailer, right? This is a trailer that you get to experience as a space, and I think that's super interesting, because I don't think that many people are doing that, because obviously this is the thing that hopefully gets you to want to then go and get a ticket and watch the show itself.
Exactly, yeah. And also I'm very excited about this world as well, in terms of, because all of my Uncannies are like, you basically get stuck in prison or you can't go any further. It's just like, you kind of like, oh, big meta, this is so shit. Whereas this world, you can kind of at least not have any of those moments, and also a place to further explore things like the creator economy, right? Like start actually having a central base that you can, even though this is for a new day, it might grow and expand as it goes to, potentially new metaverses and new kind of shows. These guys are by far a big kind of fan favorite. So this scene we're actually in now is one of the only scenes in the entire show where the audience is left completely by themselves, and they spawn in at that side of the city, and they're basically told, you have to find the polygon. When you find the polygon, tell them you're friends of ghosts, tell them you're here to see blockchain, and that's how you get in. So the audience will be wandering around this area completely alone, discovering, where things are. And then these bouncers kind of, between them, hey, what's going on? And quite often you don't realize who's talking until you look into this tiny room. And again, these are all full actors. This one's actually an NPC that normally just sits down watching TV. But, these are two actors. This one actually has a fly stick, so he comes right out flying around you, pestering you with questions, asking you, how do you get here? How do you know Ghost? As a kind of riddle to get into the next phase. So if we jump through, basically brings us to the polygon. Again, a lot more happens in the show version. So in the show version, there's a bunch of NPCs. There's a whole scene with blockchain. He tried to make his money out of NFTs, but his empire kind of collapsed. So now he just runs this dodgy bar, trying to pump this kind of brine. Also leading back into the previous lore, about this kind of exploration of the open metaverse and things like that. And yeah, it's basically just an explanation. This character CRT, he's been around since the very, very first version of Uncanny Alley. So he's always kind of in the world somewhere. And in this version of the show, he also plays a bit of a part, but more humorous, funny kind of part of the show. So that's the polygon. We can take a quick look out here. Kind of gives you just a little bit of a view. But again, the real version of the show has a lot of NPCs on the street, has things flying around, a lot of TVs playing content. But in this case, it's just a little visual. But the main purpose of this is actually, if you follow me to the cinema, so then this is an actual cinema where we'll walk in, and I'll play you the trailer and show you a little bit of the kind of behind the scenes. But this is also a place to recognize, obviously, all the actors of the show, explain a bit, that it is live. It's amazing, even in the show, even though people are aware, how many people don't actually make that connection. So they'll take, 10 minutes in the show, they still think they're dealing with AI or some sort of real kind of well-done NPCs, not realizing it's actually theatrical actors. And part of the whole move to create this as a Quest-friendly world was, a lot of actors don't have the gear we have. They don't have PCs. They don't have big PC VR setups. So all the actors during Venice were actually just acting on a Quest headset, no gear, no tethered, which really makes it a little bit more inclusive for people that want to get into theatrical acting and don't necessarily have all the hardcore kind of tech.
Cool.
So this is like a little trailer kind of explaining a bit.
Have much time. The cops are most likely already looking for us. They took my mother.
Stop for me.
Coming for all of us.
Mine started a bit late.
The good news is, I rerouted a government portal out of the city. Our mission is to escape so we can build a new life with our minds intact. We're gonna build our own world, away from all of this. Follow me if you wanna live.
This is basically a credits room where you can come and read about all the real people behind the show and all the actors involved. So this one was, we had two co-creators, myself as the art director, being my world, my lore, me doing the world building, avatars, and then Stephen from Ferryman Collected, who did the theatrical direction. So, writing the script from my lore, and then him and his team acting out and, becoming these characters. So you can see all for Venice itself, we had, so this is the Ferryman Collective. It's the four of them plus Stephen. Witten's also one of the actors. Deirdre is also one of the actors, although Deirdre and Stefan were there more for kind of management of all the other actors. Now, it's quite a commitment acting in the show, so we actually got all of these actors here. So always two, a male and a female for each show, and each show had different actors as well, which is really quite fun because sometimes, every single time you do the show, the experience is completely different, because sometimes you might get Miles and Athena, sometimes you might get Jacob and Kristen. So it's always, dependent on who's available, what time slots they're working. That's kind of how it works with all the actors. So this is just a place to come and read a bit about everyone's bio and see their social media, so you can kind of follow them forward. But that's kind of
it's also
brief tour of the promo world. Yeah.
To ensure that we can continue to provide more great content like this in the future, if you liked what you saw here today, please consider subscribing to this channel and becoming a member at UploadVR.com to support our team. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.